Now to give you a quick little history lesson and a quick understanding on where I'm going with this 23 thing. The 2 stands for Tupac, and the 3, well, that stands for Baby Lane. You gotta understand LA gangbanging and politics to understand that one. So that means he got 3 homies. His big homie name is Big Lane. Second big homie is Lil Lane. And that would then make him Baby Lane, which would be the 3rd in the installment of the G file. So you gotta understand LA politics, understand where I'm going with this. And if you notice that 23 is the number of Jordan, 32 is the number of Magic, well.
Suge, the Outlaws, you and your security, and a bunch of other people, Trayvon Lane, all head down to Vegas.
Yeah, I was already out in Vegas. I was preparing to get in the club, getting the club situated, and
Club 662.
Club 662, because that's also a Death Row or Suge Knight entity.
Yeah. And the after party was supposed to be at that club.
Got it.
And what we needed was some type of alcohol cards that you need to have, where all your guards need to have to work inside the club. Any employee inside the club in Vegas had to go through this particular class. And so I was making sure all my guards was going through that particular class so we could have the cards, because we knew we was going to get checked that night for those particular cards and for our credentials, and to make sure that everything was set up correctly at Club 662.
How many of your security guys were there in Vegas?
From 20 to 25 to work Club 662.
A lot.
Yeah.
Okay. The Mike Tyson fight happens.
Correct.
Were you actually at the fight?
No, I was at Club 662.
You're at Club 662.
Yes.
After the fight, after the Tyson fight, the altercation happens at the MGM Hotel. You were not there either? I wasn't aware of it, and I wasn't there as well. Okay.
But you, I guess, were friends with Trayvon Lane?
Oh, Trayvon grew up 3 or 4 houses away from where. He's a lot younger. He's about 7 to 8 years younger than I am.
Okay.
Which is a big thing in growing up.
Yeah.
You know, you're talking about 3rd grader and a 10th grader.
Yeah.
But he grew up in the neighborhood where I grew up.
Okay.
3 or 4 houses down the street.
Got it. So this is someone you've known
Correct.
a lot of your life.
Correct.
Suge as well?
Yes.
Got it. Did you hear about the incident?
At the Lakewood Mall, you
Yeah,
talking about?
that incident.
Yes,
Trayvon.
we was aware of the Lakewood Mall incident.
Okay. Was Trayvon's chain stolen during the incident or no?
No, it was an attempt.
Okay.
Tenth attempt etymology. Now let's check it out. Where do we get the words 10th attempt? Well,
On the 5.
yeah, Reggie Wright Jr. said attempt right when we got the 5, and we know that 5 plus 10, which is a 6, and therefore that was a marker for me to look up what the 10th attempt was. The term decimation come from. Okay, let's look into it.
Why is it decimation, not decimation?
Not decimation, I know. Okay, decimation or decimation. Latin decimatio or decem equals 10. Was a form of Roman military discipline in which every 10th man in a group was executed by members of his cohort. The discipline was used by senior commanders in the Roman army to punish units or large groups guilty of capital offenses such as cowardice, mutiny, desertion, and insubordination, and for pacification of rebellious legions. The word decimation is derived from the Latin meaning removal of a 10th. The procedure was an attempt to balance the need to punish serious offenses with the realities of managing a large group of defenders.
They jumped him, I guess.
They attempted to take his chain. Him, a guy named Mo, and K-Dub. It was 3 of them. And I'm hearing, you know, anywhere from 10 to 15 different guys from the Southside Compton Crips that was there. Who knows?
Right. And Baby Lane was involved in that.
He was one of the guys.
Got it. It was Southside Crips.
Correct.
And I guess Southside and the Pyrus were beefing at this point?
Well, Bloods and Crips always have a natural dislike for each other, but you go through times when you beefing, or usually when school starts up, when school ends, is when they really beefing or something like that.
Okay. Well, the jumping happened at the Lakewood Mall.
The attempt. Okay.
The attempt.
Yeah.
He got jumped. No, not really?
He wouldn't characterize it as that. He was just saying
Okay.
somebody tried to take their chain.
Okay, a bunch of guys jumped on him.
Jump, when we say get jumped, I mean you got your butt whooped.
Okay, so
I
he's
don't
saying it
want
wasn't as bad as people
make it out.
make it out to be later on. Okay. So Trayvon is with Suge and Pac and a couple other guys at the MGM lobby.
Correct.
Baby Lane walks up in the vicinity, and I guess Trayvon told Tupac that that's one of the guys that was involved in the altercation with me.
Well, that's an inaccurate statement, according to Trayvon.
Okay, so what did Trayvon say?
Trayvon's story is that he saw Baby Lane over there. He walked over, or came over and was talking to Suge, Neckbone, Buntry, which are his big homies. Because like I said, it's an age difference. And say, hey, pretty much, and I'm using words that, not the exact words. Hey, there go that nigga that tried to jump me at the mall and take my chain. Talking to his big homies. Not like we all think, whispered in the Tupac ear, go over to Tupac and tell Tupac. No, he's just talking to his guys who's over there. Tupac takes off and runs towards Baby Lane and immediately stopped him, which he goes down. By that time, everybody else catching up with him, run, and then that's when they started jumping the guy.
Right, they stomped him out.
Yeah.
So then Tupac goes back to his hotel room.
He's escorted out, they all leave,
Yeah.
and they go, some will say straight to Suge House. Like I said, I wasn't there, not even aware of it. Or some will say to the Luxor Hotel. I don't know which one happened. I'm sure it was to the Luxor Hotel to get their cars, and then they went to Suge House.
Yeah, I mean, Tupac changed clothes.
At the
He's
hotel.
not,
So
wearing...
Yeah, different thing. But I don't know,
Yeah.
like I said, what happened first.
Okay.
If they go straight to, but they eventually get to the Luxor and
Yeah.
change. Yes.
Now, you're there at Club 662. Now, you, I guess, instruct everybody not to carry guns.
Inside of the club.
Inside
the Club 662.
But
So,
even though it's your club, I mean, Suge's club.
yeah, you can carry, and I know where you're getting at, you can carry guns on your private property as long as you're out there. We just had, I don't believe in you should have, everybody should have guns inside clubs. I just think it's bad for security reasons, because you have 20 guys in there with guns, and you got maybe 2,000 to 3,000 people inside of the nightclub,
Yeah.
a small area.
Yeah.
It's not good. Something's bad is going to happen.
Could turn into a massacre.
It's gonna be. I had a couple of guys designated to carry guns that was going to be with the money, that was at the booth.
Okay, so a couple of guys had guns.
A couple of guys. We had Las Vegas PD working outside the door for crowd control.
Got it.
I had it all set up and planned.
When we arrived there was 23 other security personnel for Right Way Security at this meeting, along with the attorney and Reggie
They
Wright.
had already made a decision to go to Steve Stout's house because he was giving a swim party and a pool party in one of the mansions up in the hill in Cali. So they had already left us there. So
At 23, that we was locking and loading together.
had turned into 11.
Which is another thing that's unusual.
And one of the main issues and the main points were we were not to carry our weapons. So that right away brought up the issue of why not.
I've been to Club 662 on many of occasions, and never have they told me to leave my weapons.
So myself, Michael Moore, and Al Gittins was excluded from that because we were going to be the main security at the club 662 that evening.
Why would I leave my weapons in a vehicle or in the hotel room and I'm personally guarding Pac in one of the most hottest places to be?
We were told to leave our weapons originally into our hotel room. Okay, then we said, well, why would we leave them in a hotel room?
There was going to be a lot of commotion, there was going to be a lot of people, and what that's going to make it is a bodyguarding incident.
So at this point in time, all of the weapons were going to be at Club 662 left in our vehicles.
Now, Tupac had his own personal security.
Correct.
Frank Alexander.
Correct.
Did he have a gun?
He was supposed to. Yeah. I had my gun on me. I had my gun, but I left it in the car because at the last minute, Pac asked me to drive the Outlaws. And instead of going to my car to get my gun, I knew it was gonna be guns at the club, and we was on our way to the club. I decided not to go and get the gun and tell Pac that I didn't have my gun. I just went and drove the Outlaws. And
yeah. That night that we went to the party, he gave us a gang of invitations to get in the party. Party, but he gave us some black invitations.
Kadada's car at the last minute, and I didn't want to hold up the entourage. Is the reason that I didn't tell anyone and didn't go and get my gun.
Therefore, if there was going to be a problem, we would be able to retrieve our weapons from our vehicles.
I got into a little argument with Reggie Wright at lunch over it. He said, Mike, I'm putting Frank back on him and I'm taking you back off. And I said, Reggie, that part doesn't make sense. Why not leave me and Frank on Tupac?
I was Los Angeles County jail booking in a burglary suspect. I went to work that day.
At 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Las Vegas, at the Luxor, security was all brought together by Reggie Wright on the day that Pac was shot, and we were told not to carry weapons because we were all armed.
We were told specifically, do not carry your weapon.
And did you find that kind of strange? Everybody after the fight at the casino, and everybody thought it was strange. That why were guys told not to carry weapons? Even the cops that were there told not to carry weapons. Everybody was told not to carry weapons.
That's what we were told. Now, I, at the meeting, was asked one of the few questions. Why would you tell us not to carry our weapons?
This is their number 1 artist. I mean, he's as high profile as they get. Mm-hmm. You know, and you're paying for all the security. Mm-hmm. I mean, you got all these guys at the club. Something's wrong. The pieces, this whole situation, it just doesn't fit.
I think the reason they removed me from Tupac is because I was one of the few people that wouldn't buy into not carrying your weapon. And during no part of that day did I take my weapon off. And Mr. Wright knew that. So they removed me off Tupac so there wouldn't be a weapon there.
I rode with Reggie, and as we were driving, going over to the meeting, he began to tell me about how he was upset at Kevin Hackey because Kevin Hackey didn't come out to Las Vegas, and that Kevin Hackey had my Nextel two-way cell phone radio that should have been given to me when I arrived in Vegas.
Normally, Frank and I would both have radios, and Frank could just say, hey Mike, we're over here. There was no radio again. That day, Frank doesn't have a radio, I don't have a radio, which I normally have, and we have confusion. So for most of the day, all this went on, and Tupac did not have a clue that's what we were doing. When Reggie did that, and I questioned it, Reggie did something that he's never done.
This particular day, Puff leaves me with Big. We're in the Winnebago. D-Rock goes with Puff. Now, Puff never left me with Big ever. You know what I'm saying? And Big Crew is usually around or something like that. But this particular day, it was just Big and me, and we in the Winnebago.
He's never stayed at 662. That day, he stayed at the club. Then why would he need me there? And why would I be taken off of Tupac?
I didn't just meet Suge when I started working at Death Row. I used to work at Solar Records. He was running around gophering and going buying lunch and picking lunch up and all of that stuff. But they groomed him into Suge Knight. The ladies would see from Suge is this nice side. And the nice side is making sure you didn't want for nothing.